Have you ever been denied a purchase? Are you looking to purchase a home or a car? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I can assist. My name is Shanada Harris. I am a financial specialist offering solutions to your financial matters. We have an aggressive program that gets you results within 45 to 90 days. Contact me, Shanada Harris, at 734-752-8818 for your free consultation.
Good morning, my Saturday morning connectors. How are you doing this morning? I am so glad to be here with you once again. I am your host, Linda Hunt of the Marketplace Connection. Welcome to the Marketplace Connection. I am so glad to be able to come to you again. And as I said, all the month of January, I'm wishing you still a happy new year. I pray that your new year, not just a month, but your new year will be a new year of great expectation, full of surprises and blessings. And I just want you to have a good year. We know that we've come through a year of 2020 of much difficulties. We know it's not completely over, but we believe in spite of all of that, that you are going to have a great and a glorious and a wonderful year. So happy new year to all of my listeners. And thank you so much for following me this past year. You didn't have to, but you did. And I thank God for you. And we are looking forward to this year having some real good conversations. And so today, I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. You know, this is that time of the year where people are either getting ready to file their taxes, they're trying to lose weight, or they're trying to fix their credit. Well, today we have a person that is a specialist in the area of credit. And I want you to listen. I want you to click, like, share, because this information is something that is very important to all of us. I know a lot of times we have all been in places sometimes from circumstances that, beyond our control. Sometimes when your credit get in that area where your credit is not good and you go to buy something, you go to buy that furniture, go to buy that house, you go to buy that car, and you're not able to. But there is help for you, okay? And so we have someone here today, Miss Shanada Harris, that is going to be talking to us about credit. So again, I want you to get a pen. I want you to take some copious notes. I want you to click, like, share, tell your neighbors, tell your friends that the Marketplace Connection is on the air. And we're going to take a break for a brief moment to let you hear from Shanada and all of the things that's going on. I forgot we played the commercial.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to introduce her to you. And Shanada, welcome to the Marketplace Connection.
Thank you so much. This is actually melancholy for me because this is the first podcast that I ever appeared on. When I started Credit Repair a few years ago. Matter of fact, this month, I'm celebrating 3 years in the industry.
Wow.
So I'm super excited to be
That's
here
right.
and just elated to pass along the information to be able to help somebody.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's right. You were my guest. It's been 3 years?
It's been 2.5, almost 3 years for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, well, Shanada is a host of her own broadcast, but I bring some of the hosts. We both are on Worship Radio International. Praise God for Worship Radio International and for Prophet Blaine and all of the staff here and all of the hosts here. And we have, I think when Shanada found us, we were in another location.
Yes, yes.
And we have grown in the last 5 years, going on 6 years for me. This is my going into 6th anniversary that I have been on the air. Been doing the Marketplace Connection, coming to you every Saturday. So, that lets you know that I am dedicated, to just bringing you information, as I tell you, to expand your capacity, upgrade your thinking, because God wants to give you more. And so with having Shanada here today, I know that one of the things in terms of your having more and having being able to really prosper and to get ahead in life and do some of the things that you want to do in life, you have to have credit. Okay, a lot of times, because I came out of an industry where I had to work with people that had to have credit to buy a car. And a lot of times people think that not having credit is good credit. That is not good credit. I mean, you know, it is the good and the bad of, you know, just trying to do business, because you do have to have credit. But the main thing is knowing how to take care of that credit, knowing how to respect it. So you're not in a place when you do have a need, because there will come a time when you will have a need to buy something that you need to have some credit. So Shanada is here today to talk about credit and all of the things that she does in terms of the company that she's with. And so again, I want you to pay attention and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, because I believe that this is something very, very important for all of us. So Shanada, let me just tell you a little bit about her, okay? I met her for the first time, called her, asked her would she come on my show at that time, and I believe it was about this time of the year when we talked about credit. And so I know that what she does in terms of the business, the information, I know that she is a specialist in her field. And so I know that she really knows about the field of credit. So, but Shanada is a single mom and a daughter of Jasmine, 28, Jasmine Harris. And Shanada got engaged last year, to the love of her life.
Yes,
Joe Curtis. And I met him when I first met you.
Right.
And she comes from a family of over 100 years of service in the Fiat Chrysler industry. Wow, 100 years. So who is that? Your grandfather? Your
grandfather, father, and as a matter of fact, on Tuesday, I'll be celebrating 21 years
wow.
with Chrysler, now known as Stellantis.
Wow. Wow. I know when I sold Chryslers, but when I started, it was like Daimler Chrysler, and then it switched over to Fiat.
We've been Daimler Chrysler, Cerebus, Chrysler again, FCA, now we Stellantis, all in the 21 years that I've been there. So we won't even go back to the other 80 plus years in the family history.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is amazing, 100 years.
Yeah.
So that shows the dedication of your family, and I'm sure you can't drive anything else but a Chrysler.
But you know what? I tried it, though.
Oh, you pushed the envelope, huh?
Well, it was because it was a free car at that time.
Okay.
I was in another industry and qualified for the free car, won that car. And, you know, my father he was like, nothing could come in his driveway other than a Chrysler car. But I was able to park this car in the driveway because it was free. I earned it. And then he also came to the dealership to watch me sign and drive way free in it. So I was good to go with then. So, you know, in the industry I'm in now, we working on this car. It won't be a Chrysler, though. But it's a free car.
Okay, it's a free car. Okay, well, all right. There's nothing wrong with free, I'll tell you. So Shanada, she got into an industry. And kind of like I said, that was, I think you were kind of like at the beginning of that when I first met you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
It was within the first 9 months of being in the industry. So I was just getting my feet wet.
Okay. Well, she was just looking to make a little bit of money. So the industry, and she'll talk about some of that, some of the perks of being able to be in this industry. And she got into this industry just looking, I guess, as you were approaching getting ready to retire. When are you planning on retiring?
Oh, soon. And very soon.
Okay. Well, as she was looking forward to retiring, she knew that she needed to have something that she could still continue to make money. And so she came upon this industry. And so, and it's a financial education industry, and it's called United Credit Education Services, and you found it online through Facebook.
Actually, yes. That's how I found Financial Education Services / United Education Credit Education. Was on Facebook because I was in the position of a lot of people. One, I felt like credit wasn't important. I had filed bankruptcy over 25 plus years ago.
Okay.
And after I came out of that bankruptcy, the bankruptcy was lifted off of my credit report. I felt like if I couldn't pay cash for whatever I needed, I didn't need it in my life, which was totally not true. As I approached 50 and my milestone, and as I was approaching the milestone anniversary, even with my current employer, I realized that that wasn't really the smart way to think about things, as well as I found myself renting a condo and paying $1,250 a month for over 10 years. So that's over $150,000 right there, and I didn't own nothing.
Right.
So that was a problem for me. And so I was like, when I found this opportunity, I was like, wow, I could fix my credit and make some cash and educate people. Now, I was already educating people with their finances to a degree because I was an extreme couponer.
Okay.
So I was one of those people that was going to buy all the toilet paper and stockpile it, the paper towel. And then I sold it back to the community.
Okay.
Because we did like yard sales or bundle sales or whatever, and sold it back for less than what I paid for it.
Right.
And or what you would pay for it as a consumer. But I also taught people that concept on how to use coupons in their life to incorporate it in their spending like it was money. And it was very valuable to many people because a lot of people didn't realize how to extend their dollars. Because how many times do we wake up and we have more month than we have money?
That's right.
You know, and that was a big reality check, especially in the African American community, that we spent money on so many things, but a lot of people don't realize where their money goes. You get paid on Friday, and by Monday you're broke, and you're trying to figure out, well, where did all the money go? Or you find yourself spending money on things that really don't matter, and then you don't realize how much that accumulates. Like, I always give the example of coffee and donuts. If you work Monday through Friday and you go to Tim Hortons every day, on your way to work, you get that coffee and you get that donut. So you spend $5 a day. That's $25 a week, $100 a month, $1,200 a year on coffee and donuts.
Right.
Which can be a contributing factor to you getting your finances in order if you look at it from that perspective. But a lot of people don't look at it in that perspective until you throw that big figure out there and you break that math down. And then you have that epiphany like, oh, I spend that much money?
Right, right. Because we're not conscientious. You know, a lot of times you're spending money and you're not really conscientious. Oh, I got enough money to cover it. But like you said, you don't really sit down and just add up some of the things that you're really wasting.
Correct.
You're really wasting money, and you're not really conscientious of it because you're just going about it and you're just, you know, in the motions and in the movement of
it's
doing
your habitual routine of what you do every day. But then, like, when you sit down and, like, look at, okay, well, I made $60,000. Well, where did the $60,000 go?
Right.
And a lot of people don't think that that $5 a day add up. It does.
And it could be money, that $5 a day that you're spending on coffee, donuts, or whatever, you know, just things that are really not necessary, is money that you could be putting in the bank. $5 here, $10 here, and I mean, it can add up.
$1,200 a year, you know, that could be a stock, an investment. And, you know, we're not teaching the right things. So finance, to a certain degree, wasn't really taught in the school system. So financial literacy is so important and so critical. And that's one thing that I do love about the company that I'm with is that we do go back into the
teach them.
community
Okay.
to teach groups ages 8 to 18 about financial
Oh,
literacy.
that's good. Okay.
And that's a special piece that we do, as well as a scholarship program that we offer as well. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So the financial education is something that you all teach. Is it online, or do you have places that people could, if they're interested in knowing about
people
your
that are
services?
interested in finding out about the financial literacy piece, they can just contact me.
Okay.
I do occasionally do speaking engagements where I come and talk to your group. And now that we're in a virtual society of how we're operating, I go on Zooms and make an appearance and speak about financial literacy and talk about the importance of credit, just trying to help people because, number one, a lot of people don't really understand how credit works.
Right. Right.
Let's just start there.
Right.
It just wasn't something that was taught. We were taught go to work, and save a part of your check, and then you're able to spend a part of your check. But some people have jobs where you can't save because this is all that you have. And for the average person, it takes more than one income to
That's right.
to operate a household. And sometimes it takes more than two, depending on how big your family is and the cost of living as to the geographics where you're located. Because it's cheaper to live here in Michigan than it is to live in California.
Right.
And the same with New York. The cost of living is
yeah.
totally different. So therefore, you're paid differently, but you have to monitor your money and know where your money is going. And so this is where credit plays a part, because if you're not careful with credit and you're behind on certain things, it can compromise you from getting things that you actually need.
That's right. That's right. How many people do I know that when I was, in the automobile industry and would come to my desk and sit there and, cry, literally, because of the fact that they weren't able to get that car, or even, maybe the credit. Some of them didn't have the credit. And I would, tell some of the younger people, go open up if it's nothing but a jewelry account, go to a jewelry store. You have to have something. It's a record to show us how you're going to, and that's all they were worried about, is how are you going to pay me back? Or are you going to pay me back?
Right.
And so your credit is your track record. It gives us a history or a story as to how creditable you are. Can we trust you? Can we believe that you are going to pay this loan back? And so, it's a heartbreaking thing. So many people that was not able to get what they needed or had a car at that time, and it was falling apart because they were in this high, interest rate on a used car.
Right.
And just didn't have the, enough money to compensate for that high interest that they had in their car, because the car was falling apart, but they were still like maybe $5,000-$6,000 upside down.
Right.
So it is so important, and it's just like it's it's good to have credit, but it's better to have it when you know you need it. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times people, they don't think about it until it's actually a time to really need the credit to buy that house, buy that car. Might be furniture in your house. It could be anything, because it is going to come a day where you're going to need it.
Right. And as the saying is, cash is power, credit is king.
Yeah.
It truly is.
That's it.
It truly, truly is. So let's go to the slide, if you will. Let's talk about how credit is calculated. You've got 30% of the amount owed, which is very important, and then your payment history makes up 35%. Then you've got 10% of your credit mix, which is like your installment loans and your revolving credit, 15% of your credit history, and 10% is new credit. But the amount owed and your payment history is very key. You want to keep your total amount of your credit 30% or less, preferably less than 30%, because this will help fluctuate. It will help fluctuate you where you want to be to get you qualified for that pre-approval for that home, for that lower interest rate for cars. Payment history. Paying your bills on time is so vitally critical to your credit score. One payment can cost you 25 to 50 points per occurrence.
One late payment.
One late payment.
Wow.
So if you're looking at a 650 and you pay something late, to lose 25 to 50 points is a huge drop. And it's really, really sad because a lot of people don't realize that. Sometimes we can't help it, but in these days and times, we have to be very cautious of making sure those bills are paid on time.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that the due date that you see on the actual statement is the date that they reported to the credit bureaus. So I always suggest, and make sure you write this down, this is very important and key. I suggest that you break your payment into two prior to the due date. So if your payment is $100 to Capital One, you want to pay $50 2 weeks before and $50 like 7 days before that due date. And you want to allow ample time for processing. So what happens is it tricks the algorithms of the credit system, but it allows that good reporting history to make it seem like you're financially stable as you're reporting two payments, but you're actually only solidifying the one payment that's due for that day.
Now say this one more time. And first of all, the algorithm is what? What is that?
The algorithms of the system. The algorithm is expecting you to make that one payment, not two, for that month.
Okay.
So that algorithm of you making two payments is going to make you seem like you're much more financially stable because you're keeping up ahead of time with that payment.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. You were saying the date on the slip, okay, or the bill, okay? So if it's due today, and you have, I'm just asking, is there a grace period before they report it?
I don't like to get into grace periods because unless you read the fine lines of each and every collector that you're paying a bill that reports, everybody's rules is different. So sometimes you'll get a late fee charge after that date. So like if you paid it today and it doesn't process until tomorrow, they still could penalize you. So I don't like to play with that date.
Okay.
And it's best not to play with that date because then you got to get on the phone and try and talk to them about not charging you and taking that charge off. Most importantly, they done already sent your late payment to the credit bureaus.
And I'm going to tell you another thing that, and I used to tell my customers this, if you are going to be late, or if there are things that happen, life happens, okay?
It does.
Something could come up. It's better to call them and say, listen, and if your track record has been good, in most cases, they'll give you some grace.
They'll give you grace and move that payment to the end of that particular bill cycle for you.
But what I was going to say is, and I used to tell my customers this, is that sometimes people would get mad because, they would call them, Chrysler Financial at that time, and they would call them and find out why their payment is late, and people would get mad and and cuss them out on the phone or whatever, and they record all of that. And so then when you get ready to come back and buy a car again, and then they look at the record and because of the attitude or because of the things that have been said, as far as they're concerned, they don't want to do business with you anymore. So, I would tell my customers, when they call you, because like I said, there's some circumstances that come up that's beyond your control, at least be nice. You know what I'm saying? You owe the people.
Kindness goes a long way.
And you could get, nice goes a long ways, like you said, and you can get more grace, when you do that. And we could help you and stand behind it, because that's what we would do sometimes.
Exactly.
But if you are getting angry and calling people names and all of that, trust me, they don't want to have anything to do with you. So those are the 5 things that make up a good credit score. What is now considered? When I was in the business, 600, if you had a 600 credit score, I mean, we would absolutely love you at that particular time. But now I believe it's like 850?
No, 700 is a decent range to get in.
Okay.
A lot of people tend to think that, if you got a 600, it's great, but no. A 700 is usually between 680 and 700 is where you can start qualifying for a lot of various housing programs if you're looking to get into a home.
Okay.
And I know from a car dealer perspective, they can work with you with the 600, right, but how many times they're going to run that credit through?
Right.
And all those inquiries, that's going to drag your score down and may not be very well worth it.
That's right.
So if you are knowledgeable when you do go to a car dealer and know which one of the credit bureaus your score is the highest, that's the one you want them to run.
TransUnion at that time, I don't know if it still is, but that was the one the car dealerships were using primarily. It was TransUnion. And can you run your own, credits, get your own credit score before you go? Or is it,
a lot of them don't allow that. They want to run it through whatever financial institution that they're using, because obviously the dealers, they get, they make their money on what bank that they use at the dealerships. So that's going to play a part into their profit line. So that's why they run it so many times, to see where they're going to get the best deal as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So
on the back end.
Right, on the back end, exactly. So, 12 times to have your credit hit and have all these inquiries is not a good thing, because definitely your credit score is going to take a plunge.
Really? Okay, so the more you have credit pulled, not just your soft pull. That's a soft pull, right?
No, that's a hard pull.
No, I'm saying when you do it yourself.
Oh, when you do it yourself, yes.
That's considered a soft pull. And when you go to a dealership, that's considered a hard pull. Or when you go to buy, furniture or any other appliances or any of those things. So you don't want to be going to different places, having people pull your credit, because now your credit score is going down even the more.
Yeah, and you're looking at probably paying higher interest rates than what you anticipated when you started the journey. So you have to be credit savvy when you're on that brink. Now, if you have a 750 or higher, you're in that bracket where you have excellent credit. And so 9 times out of 10, you can write your own deal, where you will probably have the lowest interest rates. The only difference between a 750 and an 850 is bragging rights, because the same thing a person with an 800 credit score is going to have, it's going to be the same offers that 750 is going to get. But a lot of people want that esteemed privilege to say, I have an 800 plus credit score.
Yeah, I had very few that at that time that came through the dealership that had an 800 credit score, and to see that, it was like, okay, well, we don't have any problem.
So, somebody walk into a dealership with an 800 credit score, you roll out the red carpet.
I'm telling you, they could walk out the door that day. You knew, okay,
and it's not going to take 6 hours. They're going to be in and out within a matter of a couple of minutes.
Yep, no hassle.
A couple of hours at best.
That's right. That's right. And like you said, you can negotiate. When you have that kind of credit, you can negotiate, say, hey, I'm not paying that. What can we do? Can we work this out? And in most cases, it got worked out, because they wanted that deal.
If you were a smart negotiator,
that's right. They wanted that deal, and threw in some extras.
You got some extra bells and whistles if you got that 750 rocking.
That's right. You got some extras. Okay. So there are 5 things: the payment history, the total debt, the length of the credit, new credit, and different types of credit. Now, these are some of the things that goes into your portfolio as far as credit.
That is how the credit score is calculated.
Okay.
The graph that we just showed specifically shows you the breakdown as to what and how your credit score is comprised of. Because a lot of people don't understand that. They think that, number one, let me get my tax refund and I'm going to start paying off all these bills. Paying off bills that are reporting to the credit bureaus is not a good thing, because it throws off that payment history.
Okay.
So the payment history, can you put that back on the screen, please? The payment history, thank you, is very, very important. That is the biggest piece
part
of the pie. Paying down your debt is the most smartest thing to do, because the amount owed is the second piece of the puzzle.
So that's
right?
30% of the actual loan.
Correct.
So if the loan is, say, $5,000, then 30% of $5,000 might be $150 or something like that. Okay, or $1,500, somewhere around in there. But anyway, you pay your bill, or you keep your bill down at least below that $1,500 to stay within that 30% range. Is that correct?
Correct. And if you can get it down under 30%, that's even better.
Even better. Okay. Okay. So when you get a credit card, and if they give you $2,000, taking your credit card up to $2,000 and then paying it off is not a good thing.
No.
Because now you've maxed out the credit card.
Correct.
Okay. So what you're saying is
you've maxed out the credit card, and you've also put yourself in a position that you look desperate and financially unstable.
Okay.
So when a creditor looks at that, they're going to say, Linda doesn't look like she would be a good candidate, because she just got this credit card and she done took it up to $19.99 and only got $1 left. So you done maxed out the card. So when they get ready to charge you the interest rate the next month, you're going to be over your limit. So that's going to hit your credit report, and that's going to drop your score down. And you sitting there with now over the limit credit card. So guess what? If Linda had an emergency, where is Linda going to turn to?
That's right.
And that's where we as a society now with COVID is now facing. Because prior to COVID, we were looking at over 65 million people in America with less than perfect credit. Now, in the middle of the pandemic, a lot of people are really having a come to Jesus moment with their finances. They don't have extra to turn to.
Right.
You know, if they applied for a Capital One is only giving you $500 or $700. And if your emergency is more than that, guess what? You're going to max that card out. And you don't have another card. And a lot of people tend to think that these higher interest rate cards are great cards to have. Well, one thing that I do teach my clients is that we have other institutions that we recommend you to that have lower interest rates once we get that credit straight. And they're going to extend lines of credit to you that you can utilize for an emergency, more than $500. People that tend to get on our program and get their credit fixed, they can go to the table now with $1,000 line of credit or higher, with the guidance, if you tend to follow my guidance the way you need to. I've had a customer, she had a foreclosure on her credit report. We got the foreclosure removed, and the only credit card that she had was like a $300 prepaid a secured card. And then she had another card that had like $500 on it. I want to say it was like a Victoria's Secrets or something like that. Well, she got on the program, she got some things removed, and she started paying her bills on time. And she followed my recommendation. and she was able to apply for a line of credit and wound up getting $1,000. And she was ecstatic because she had never had a card over 500. But now she was like, well, now I have an emergency card. So if something should happen, I have an extra card to turn to.
Okay.
And this is where we find ourselves where we don't have an emergency fund. Whether we have a savings account with some emergency money in it, or whether we have a charge card that we can turn to with an emergency money. And I should say credit card because and know the difference between charge and credit. Charge cards are your Victoria's Secrets, Home Depot, Lowe's, store specific.
Right, rather than banks.
Whereas a credit card is your Visa, MasterCard,
Visa,
American
okay.
Express that you can utilize for anything for your bills and or groceries or clothes or whatever you need. Mm-hmm. And that's where we really want to focus on because your charge cards are going to charge you more interest rates. Whereas with the credit cards, you're able to get travel points or cash rewards back. Mm-hmm. And the cash rewards right now are better because not too many people are traveling.
Right. Now, you had mentioned, I know, we were talking, and you had mentioned before that if you have a credit card, not to pay it completely off because credit history is very important as well. That's one of the 5 things that make up your credit score. And so if you have, like I've had a Macy's card, I go charge things on it and pay it off or whatever. But, and I've had that for over 20 some years. And so credit history is really important too because they want to see the track record of
right.
how you paid your bills over a period of time. And if you've had a card for 20 years or more, then they know obviously you've had good credit and good standing with that company. So talk a little bit about, that.
I always recommend that if you have a charge card, don't close it or pay it off.
Right.
If, like for Macy's, if nothing else, go charge you a lipstick on
right.
it and leave $1 on there.
Mm-hmm. Now, with that kind of card with them, you can do that because they, if you pay it off, then you still owe them $2. And it's so crazy. I don't know why they do that. After you pay the bill, then they send you this $2, whatever that is. So you, in other words, with them, unless you're just continuously putting something, and I say that specifically because I have a Macy's card, and unless you're just continuously putting something on it, you almost have to pay it off. You know what I'm saying?
I always tell people don't pay it completely off.
Okay.
Leave at least $1 to $5 on there.
Okay.
Because I had a coworker. She wasn't a client.
Mm-hmm.
She had a decent credit score, and she did this with her Neiman Marcus or Saks, one of them cards.
Okay.
But she was like, she would pay it off completely. Mm-hmm. And I said, don't pay it off because you're hurting your credit score. Oh. So as soon as she did what I told her to,
okay,
in the increments, after a couple months, she saw her score increase.
Oh, because that's what I would do. I would go charge something, and just, with Macy's, I just go and pay it off. I, charge whatever I wanted, but I knew I was going to pay it off. So now you're saying at least leave something on there.
Leave $1 to $5 on there tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because you're going to use it anyway.
Right.
But that's what you do with
Macy's
or your Victoria's Secrets or whatever.
I'm going today and buy me something. Because, it's...
And it doesn't have to be something expensive. It can be something small, like a little lipstick, some socks or something.
Right.
Just a little something, and then just pay that down to at least $5 or $4 or whatever, but keep it under $5 and just let it ride.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll do that. Yeah. I'll do that. Okay. So let's talk about bankruptcy versus credit repair. I know in a season and at a time like this, a lot of people are losing their housing, or if they're renting, they're losing as well. When you're renting, that goes on your credit score. That goes on, through the credit bureaus as well.
It does, especially if it goes through litigation.
Okay, so you mean if you foreclosed on not foreclosed, but...
So like say for instance, if you were evicted from an apartment...
Eviction, yeah.
That does go on your credit report,
okay.
Because that goes through the court systems, and then the court will or can report it to the credit bureaus.
Okay.
And that is something that our company has gotten off for people is evictions.
Okay.
Off of the credit report. It does not relieve the obligation to pay the bill, but they're able to get that off of the credit report, which gives you some relief because a lot of people will need that relief, in the event of an eviction.
You're probably going to have a lot of people after this.
And after, the moratoriums for evictions and foreclosures are lifted, we're going to see a lot more people lose homes and be evicted because they don't have the finances. And for the people that are thinking, oh, well, since we've got these moratoriums, I'm not going to pay, you're going to be in for a rude awakening because you're still going to be obligated to withhold those financial obligations.
Yeah.
Or they will be placed on your credit report.
So when you get that $2,000 that, or that $1,200 or whatever it is that we're going to get as far as stimulus, people need to be wise. And like you said, a lot of times people feel like, okay, well, because you have this moratorium that I don't have to pay my rent. But you're right. At the end of all of that, they're going to be looking for their money because they still have bills to pay too.
Correct. And credit repair versus bankruptcy.
Yes.
What I do with that is simply, if you have a situation, I tend to do a consultation evaluation to see all of what you have before I say, okay, you're a candidate for credit repair. Because not everybody is a candidate for credit repair.
Okay.
Sometimes things happen where things have downward spiral out of control, and you have to make that decision whether you're going to go file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is just another way to get you to pay down your debt. You're still going to have to pay, and you're going to need credit repair after that bankruptcy is over because you will be suffering from the bankruptcy being on there for 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the other things that have been closed out on there as well. So bankruptcy doesn't take those things immediately off of your credit report.
And a lot of times people rush to do bankruptcy because they feel like they're not obligated to pay anymore. But in the long run, unless it's just absolutely necessary that you file bankruptcy, that you hurt yourself.
You do. And you're at a handicap because you can't buy a car without a cosigner. You're going to be stuck with going to a B lot to buy a car with a higher interest rate.
Right.
So it's like you're paying more money when you put yourself in a bankruptcy position. And I'm not saying don't file bankruptcy because life happens to everybody.
It happens.
And things, I filed bankruptcy.
Me too.
But I filed bankruptcy because I didn't know any better.
Right.
Then when I did that 25 plus years ago, and
Yep. It happens. I mean, because last time when we had an economic downturn, which was in 2009, and, I was in the car industry at that time. Dealerships were closing. And most of the people, the salespeople too, that were in that industry, we were losing money because we weren't selling cars. So, it was just one of those things. And we knew the effect of bankruptcy, but it was just some things that just sometimes you just don't have, you don't have
the means, and that's like the easy way out to give you some type of relief.
Yes.
And I get it, but
it happens. But it's not something you just use, as I'm saying, for credit repair.
Exactly.
To think that, okay, I can get out of this and I don't have to pay, but in the long run, you're really hurting yourself. But sometimes you just don't have any other, you don't have any other recourse, and you just have to do what you have to do.
That's why it's so important to keep up with your finances, so we don't have to have the credit repair discussion.
Right.
We don't have to have the whether I should file bankruptcy discussion as well. And this is why if you start disciplining your habits financially of staying on top of those bills, bankruptcy is just not one of those cards.
Yeah.
Because even when sometimes people come to me and say, I need credit repair, sometimes they just need to tweak their habits.
Right.
And learn how to budget their money and not spend more than what they make.
Financial education more, right.
So that's
yeah.
real
And
key.
because once you sit down and you talk to somebody you realize a lot of money that you're wasting. You know, you find ways. Well, I can't save. Well, you find ways where you can save. Okay, how many times are you going to Starbucks, and how many times are you eating out, and you know, just a lot of things that we do. And yes, there are times when you know, I mean, we understand you still have to have some pleasure in life. But there's just some things when you're really trying to, just like if you're trying to lose weight, you have to discipline yourself.
It's a process.
Yes, it's a process.
Either way it goes, it's a huge process.
Yes.
It's a commitment.
Yes.
But I promise you, it's a commitment that will pay your dividends if you are smart about it.
Run. Yeah, yeah. Well, tell them how, you know, people, in case someone is listening, they want to know how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, most definitely. If you are looking to get a free consultation, which I offer, 734-752-8818 is my phone number. I am on Facebook at Shanada M. Harris, and my Instagram is at Shanada. My TikTok, I occasionally do that. I'm at Shanada at TikTok, and then also my email address is letsfixitwithshanada@gmail.com.
Now give us that telephone number. It's 734?
It's 734-752-8818.
8818. And you can catch Shanada here at the Worship Radio International on what day?
Wednesdays at 4 p.m. I'm live right here at Worship Radio International. As a matter of fact, I'll be having a special guest this Wednesday.
Okay.
So doing some things for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
But we definitely just love to give you solutions to your financial matters to be able to assist you.
And that show is called
Let's Fix It with Shanada.
Let's Fix It with Shanada. So you definitely want to tune in so you can keep up with the tips and what's going on in the industry, because things are always changing.
Yes.
Things are always evolving, even in the credit industry. And so you want to be on top of how you can have better credit and fix it with Shanada, okay? So how long does it take to repair credit?
Most clients that come to me are with me 4 to 6 months. And, you know, it just depends on your discipline and ability to follow directions.
Okay.
But 4 to 6 months is about the average.
Okay.
That's because
Okay. Now, is there a cost for your services when they come in?
Yes, it's less than $3 a day to be able to get your credit fixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so less than $3 a day. So is it something they pay on a month-to-month?
It is an initial startup fee and then a monthly fee.
Okay.
And, you know, that's based upon what's going on at the time. So occasionally there are specials where a price will fluctuate. So once I sit down with you with your consultation,
okay,
we can discuss that cost. But for the most part, for $3 a day, a person can get their credit fixed.
Okay. All right. So tell us some of the advantages of being a part of the company that you're with. Tell us some of the things, the perks and different things that...
Wow. One, being a part of this, first of all, the company I'm with is Financial Education Services. It's been around for over 17 years. And there's over 40,000 active agents in our company. So it's still relatively a new company. And keep in mind that we service all 50 states, including the U.S. Virgin Islands and Mexico. So we're always looking. Now, keep in mind, it's a business opportunity. So it's like buying into a franchise. And if that's something that you're interested in, you're able to take advantage of being paid seven different ways, a car allowance program that they have, where you can qualify for an Audi, Benz, or a Cadillac. There's trips. There's house payment installments that are available. You know, once you exceed yourself to a certain level. And it's just an awesome opportunity to be able to assist people with their finances and change the trajectory of their lives.
So how is there a cost to get involved in?
Yeah, there is a franchise fee, and it's under $300.
Okay, all right.
And you can't buy a Chick-fil-A for under $300. Not a franchise.
Okay, all right, okay. And so it becomes buying, when you say a franchise, it becomes your business.
It becomes your business. You're
Okay.
in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You're given the tools and to be able to run the business, as well as a database and your websites. So, and then you're a part of a team.
Okay, now give us the name one more time of it.
Financial Education Services and United Credit Education Services. It's twofold, where we have our credit side and then we have our business opportunity
education
side, all
side.
under one umbrella.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, is there anything else you want to add in terms of any, some of the services that we did not cover or anything?
Okay, well, we could talk about that. There are 13 services with our credit
Okay.
repair that we do offer. Number one, you're going to get budgeting tools. So we're going to show you how to budget your money, which is something key to what we've been talking about, because that's how we wind up in the situations we get into anyways, because we don't have a budget.
Okay.
A will, trust, power of attorney, which a lot of people
really?
don't have that documentation. So if you do nothing else but get your credit fixed and do that will, trust, power of attorney, that is so, so important. A lot of people don't realize how important that documentation is. I can't tell you how many people we've had, that post GoFundMes because they don't have a life
Right now,
insurance
this
policy.
is something really needed.
This is prevalent in our community, period, across the board, that people need. If you don't do nothing else, that will, trust, power of attorney is so important. And let me tell you why. You have famous people who are worth millions that have left here without a will, trust, power of attorney.
right.
Aretha Franklin's estate.
Right.
$16.5 million
Prince.
was paid to the state of Michigan because there was no legal will, trust, or power of attorney in place. So a portion of her estate, the state of Michigan got a chance to profit from because that documentation wasn't there. And had she taken care of that, her family would have been able to get that money versus the state of Michigan. So I said that to say this documentation can help save a family, because Lord knows in that hour of grieving, the chaos starts, the fighting starts, the bickering starts, and the family dynamics change because y'all fighting over possessions and things and money. And Lord knows how many families that have gone through this type of turmoil. And so this documentation is like so prevalent. You're also going to get an app called Smart Credit. And in that Smart Credit app, it's going to be able to protect your identity and monitor your credit. But it also, it's a part of, it's one of my favorite tools that we have, because it shows you how to move your credit score while we're fixing your credit, taking those negative items off of your credit report. It'll show you the items that are reporting to the credit bureaus and how much you need to pay down and how many points you're going to get by doing so. So it's like a blueprint to help you work in front while we work behind the scenes. And it will help you get to where you need to go faster if you follow this blueprint. Now, there's no other product out there in the industry that can show you what to do. Not a Lexington Law, not a bankruptcy attorney, but this program shows you exactly what you need to do in order for you to meet your goals. You're also going to get credit building tools. So those of you that don't have enough credit, we're going to show you how to get credit, how to attain a secured credit card, which we have, how to add a positive trade line to your credit report to increase your score to get credit for your rental history. And I'm not talking Experian Boost. We have a program specifically for that called Credit My Rent. But then also, when I
Now,
take
say that one more time. What is it called?
Credit My Rent,
Okay, Credit My Rent.
we can add 1 year to 2 years history onto your credit report on this program. And what that can do is position you for 50 to 100 points onto your credit score, depending on how much history you add. Because if you remember, if you go back to the pie, the credit history, the payment history, how important that is.
Right.
So now they're going to give you credit for your rent, and that's going to help this maneuver your credit score higher.
It works great.
Okay.
Our producer
The customer, yeah, he's the
our
customer.
producer is on that program, and he loves it. And it works.
Okay.
So it gives you that credit boost that you need to put you in position. But a lot of people that are trying to buy homes, they do the credit repair and the Credit My Rent. And it normally works out where they're ready for a pre-approval in about 4 to 5 months.
So your rent can actually help your credit score when you're paying rent. And I've never heard of that
That's
before.
because we're one of the few companies that offer this particular program.
Wow.
And they just enhanced it where we're reporting to 2 credit bureaus now versus 1. We're reporting to TransUnion and Equifax.
So if you're paying on time, paying your rent on time, now you can get credit for it. That will help boost your credit score.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Now, how much is your services?
The cost of the service is $188 to start and $89 a month. So
$188 to
$3 a day is what that equates to.
Okay. All right. Break it down. Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
yes. So
Less than a cup of coffee.
right, exactly. And it can't be Starbucks now because Starbucks is $5.
The producer back there, boosting up, the business because he's using it.
I'm telling y'all, this thing works great. It really, honestly, works fantastic. It's not super expensive.
Amen.
And it works really good.
Amen. And what other services are those? All the services?
That's pretty much all the services that we have. The 13 services that we spoke about. The Credit My Rent is a separate program, and the Secured Card is a separate program. However, I have you to add those services onto what's going on a case-by-case basis. That's why it's so important to do a consultation and to know exactly what we're working with before I put you on anything.
Now, can people say, for instance, if you're planning on buying a house, if you're planning on, and you get on the services, say, do you have a certain time period? Would you suggest to people, say, I want to buy a house in 2022? Would you say, let's get on the services this year?
I would start now because
Okay.
there's nothing like timing.
Okay.
If you're thinking about buying a house this year, you can get into a house in 2021.
Okay.
You don't have to wait till 2022. But even if you're thinking of 2022, now is the time to position yourself so you can get that pre-approval. And when the market shifts, because understand something, when the market shifts, when these moratoriums are lifted, the market is going to change as well. So you're going to have ample opportunities to even purchase some of the foreclosures that you're going to see because they will be plentiful. Right now, they're not as plentiful.
Right.
It is a buyer's market, according to Beverly Jordan, who is also a real estate specialist here on Worship Radio. And, a buyer's market is great, but to be able to buy a foreclosed home, you're going to be able to save money and probably get more of a house, than what you really want right now.
Yeah.
So I think the deals will be better when the moratoriums are lifted because some people will start walking away like they did in 2008.
Right. Well, Shanada, I tell you, you are so full of good information.
Thank you.
Necessary information that is needed to be able to position yourself for wealth. Positioning yourself to be able to enjoy life. and using credit. You know, it is, I used to call it the lesser, you know, I mean, you know, it's the lesser of evils where, you know, it's good, but you still have to have it. You know, people look at having credit. I don't want credit. Yes, you do. You do need to have it. If you are going to, you know, be able to do any kind of business in this life, you have to have some credit. So you might as well have good credit if you're going to have credit. And so I just really appreciate the good information, and I hope for those of you that have listened today, I pray that this information has been a blessing to you, that you will use it to, you know, to your advantage, and use it to your advantage and teaching your children. Because that's what we have to do. We have to take information and pass it down through the generations, because a lot of things are not being taught in schools like they used to. You know, a lot of things that we used to get that were taught in the schools are not being taught. So our particular community, we have to learn financial literacy. Definitely. Because it was not taught to us. And so in order to do that and break that curse of, you know, off of our generation, you know, of poverty and lack, we have to know about finances. And so it's just a great time to have somebody like Shanada to be, you can get a counselor for all kind of other things, but it's good to have a financial counselor too. So Shanada, we thank you so much. Give them your number one more time. Okay, my number is, how they can get in touch with you.
My number is 734-752-8818. My email is letsfixitwithshanada@gmail.com. You can send me a DM through Facebook at Shanada M. Harris or Instagram at Shanada.
All right. And if you're interested in being a part of the company that she is, if you want to make you some money, take advantage of the perks and all of the things that she has taken advantage of with this particular company, please get in touch with her. This is an opportunity for you to make money to help you pay off some of those bills.
Oh, most definitely.
You know, and help you in that credit situation. So again, be sure and get in touch with her on all of her social media sites. You can hit her up on Facebook, and the number that she has left. Please, you know, take advantage of it, because this is the time that I believe that we have an opportunity. I mean, things look, you know, as they are right now, but there's coming a day where things are going to get better, and you want to position yourself now. So that way, when things are, you know, better, when we come out of the pandemic, and we're coming out, okay? We believe in God. We are coming out. We know that. And so when they are, you can position yourself right now that you can be able to live a life, a better life, a life, abundant life. And so, and take advantage of the wealth that I believe that is coming to us, and particularly for, you know, believers. I believe that there is a season and a time that we are getting ready to walk into where you will be able to you know, create wealth and have wealth for yourself, okay? So we thank for those of you that have been listening today. Oh, and I want to talk about my book. I keep forgetting. I have a book signing coming up next week. It will be from 4 to 6 next Saturday. Gathering the Fragments, That Nothing Would Be Lost is the name of the book, with 16 amazing women that told their true story about how they came and their fragments were broken, and how the different circumstances they went through, and now they are whole. And we have so much more left over, because where I am today was not where I was over 20 years ago, but I am sitting here today because of my fragments that took me to a place where I am healed, whole, and just able to do things that God has required of me. And I'm telling you, this book is going to be one of those books that you'll just say, wow, when you read some of the stories. So I want you to join us next week. From 4 to 6, we'll be right here on Worship Radio International Live. Please tell your neighbors, tell your friends. We want you to come. We're going to have gifts. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have fun. And so we want you to come and celebrate these 16 women that were bold enough to tell their story about some of their things. And I'm telling you, it's a lot in it, that some of the things that they went through. And so it'll encourage you as well. Then I have another book that I did that I was a solo author, and that was my first book called Amen Sister. I did that in 2018. So please, any of those books you can get on Barnes & Noble, you can get on Amazon, any of the book outlets, Books a Million, and you can get it on any place, or you can purchase it from me by calling 248-653-5401 is my number. And so I want to, just invite you also for a upcoming, I'm doing another one again. I am the anthology strategist is what I call myself.
Doctor.
I am the anthology strategist, and not the doctor like my CEO wants to make
Whatever,
me.
she's the anthology doctor, y'all.
But anyway, I am doing another anthology that we will be starting in about, probably in about another couple weeks. We'll be getting started, and we are going to be doing an anthology called Living and Loving Life Without Regrets. You know, you don't have to live in regret, and you certainly don't want to die in regret. You want to do all that God has called you to do in this hour and this season. So come and join me if you want to be a part of an anthology to share in all of the costs that it would cost you as a single published author. So come and join me. And we'll be doing this. We're going to have a lot of fun on the journey. And so come and join me. Again, call me. Let me know that you want to be a part of it. Hit me up on Facebook, or you can reach me at 248-653-5401. Well, this has been great, Shanada. Miss Shanada Harris. Be sure and tune in to see her at Let's Fix It Shanada on what day again?
Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Wednesday, 4 p.m. And you can get all of this information free, okay? So just hit her up on Wednesday at 4 p.m. and let's fix it this year with Shanada.
Amen.
Amen. Well, this has been the Marketplace Connection, and I hope that you have taken notes. I hope that there's some of this information you're taking advantage of. We will see you again next week. Have a blessed weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Have you ever been denied a purchase? Are you looking?
No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, there's always a force that unites us. The color of your lips speaks for itself. Join the club and let your lips do the talking with Ide Cosmetics. Order your lipstick today at idecosmetics.com.
Have you ever been denied a purchase? Are you looking to purchase a home or a car? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I can assist. My name is Shanada Harris. I am a financial specialist, offering solutions to your financial matters. We have an aggressive program that gets you results within 45 to 90 days. Contact me, Shanada Harris, at 734-752-8818